welcome to The World is Storytelling. No, welcome back to The World is Storytelling, listeners, and welcome to The World is Storytelling, Dan. Now, Dan, we don't know each other very well.
We don't.
But however, you have some wonderful stories about why we are here.
Oh, wow, that's going deep. Normally, when I get asked for podcasts and things, it's about marketing, so I work as a marketer by trade. But one of the things which is kind of my nerdy background hobby is family history. To give you some context and to give you some background, I basically have a tiny family. So literally have brother, mum, grandfather. So wrote after a really distant relative, didn't think anything of it. 1 month later got this through post, just like this pack of names and dates of a few people that are like, okay, we think you're probably connected to them. And I was like, okay, cool, interesting. And since then that started me off on, it sounds very cliched, a journey over the last 20 years to piece together and add a lot more meat onto the bones of who those people are, what they did, how they lived, and then off the back of that, it really gives you a strange insight into your reality. I'll give you an example. So one of my great-great-grandparents, called Robert Broom, grew up in Cambridgeshire, moved to London, joined the Met Police right at the end of the 1900s.
Okay.
And suddenly you've got this image in your head and you find old pictures and so on, and just like what these people are. You know, he grew up in rural Cambridgeshire and then moved to sort of just like the dying days of the Victorian Empire in London. Yeah. Met policeman, basically had an affair. My then grandfather was born out of wedlock with this random woman who's a domestic servant. So you go, God, this intrigue going on. And then at this moment in time, I haven't been able to kind of piece it all together. Big period of silence. He's then died in a lunatic asylum 10 years later.
Oh, shit.
And you're just like, what has gone on here or not? And suddenly you've just got this picture of someone who you've got no idea. But you go, okay, that's just one thread of just one person. And you multiply that across the 2, the 4, the 8, the 16. I mean, if you go back like 9 generations, there's like 1,000 people that already, and then you go, so that's 500 rounds of sex. And, you know, just this like chain of these people where when you take a step back and you look at it and you just go, oh my God, the stories that they all must have been through, both good and horrendously bad, have all happened that have kind of ended up you resulting in, to be honest, the here and now, like why we are having this conversation. Some of my ancestors, they were in the trenches in the First World War. Some of them were sexually abused. Some of them were abusing their own children. You know, this is the fun of newspaper records. So it's not a fun, happy picture a lot of the time. And so you sit there and you go, my ancestors, the males of it, and I should say, it's really, really hard to do family history research for women because they're just so unrecognised in the historical record. It's like they'll show up in a census and a marriage certificate and that's it. But you look at it and they're like, oh, there's so many farmers, policemen, stonemasons, bakers, basically every hard manual breaking job. They seem to have done it.
Yeah.
And you get back to this point of going, okay, great, I know this, but actually how does that impact on me? So part of me even recently has been thinking, could I do a really physical job? I don't think I could. Could I be dropped into a trench and fight trench warfare? It starts to get to you because as I say, I work in marketing, I have a white collar job, and you go, these people didn't have white collar jobs. Why am I different to that? And so you start to just sort of really question kind of your position in the world. You realise, actually, does it matter? And in some respects, the answer is no, it doesn't. Because to me, it's like if you can pick out bits from your family history or the stories that you've kind of decided on, because you're only seeing fragments of their lives. It's not like a really detailed psychological insight into actually who they were, across the span of 80 or 90 years. You end up going, okay, well, if I believe in that and that's helpful to me, great.
Yeah.
If I'm also choosing to believe in that and I don't want to and it's unhelpful, then I'm just going to discard it. So I think the moral of all of this is if you have the opportunity to do and study your family history, go for it, because there's so many cool resources out there. There's so many weird and wonderful stories you will never have known otherwise, and it's just genuinely very interesting. But off the back of that, see how it affects kind of how you're rooted. The huge amount of people, if you hang around on Ancestry.com like I do, they're all in their 80s and 90s doing this stuff, which again is cool, but the reason they're doing it at that time is because they realise at the last moment, it's like, I want to find out where I'm from before, the dying.
Yeah. Oh, there's a few things I wanna press you about. The first one is you said Bedfordshire.
Yes.
Stevenage?
No, Luton.
Oh, okay. Because
Sorry.
I'll tell you why. I was once on a hike with someone who's from, I think she's from Luton. Anyway, she's sort of from somewhere there, and she meets some other people at some other place who are from Bedfordshire, and she says to them, "Oh, where are you from?" And they say, "Oh, it's a small place. You'd never have heard of it." And she says, "No, I'm from Bedfordshire, from Luton area." So, where is it? And she had a sense that they were trying to pretend to be posher than they actually were. So they said, "Yes, we're from a small place called Saint Evanage." And she said, "What?" Saint Evanage. And she says, "I've never heard of that." She said, "Yes, Saint Evanage, Stevenage, or whatever it is. Basically, Stevenage.
Exactly.
Saint Evanage. Anyway, so you're not from Saint Evanage. You've hinted to some anecdotes that you've kind of picked up from this delving into family history. What were some that spoke to you more than others?
Oh, there's a lot, and it goes in so many different directions. I've got people in the family who were Quakers in the 1900s. So you assume really religious. Actually, turns out they were kind of quite law-breaking, and no one liked them.
What did they do to break the law? Go on, give us the gossip.
I think there was a lot of adultery.
Adultery, okay. Yeah.
And if you swing back to kind of 1890s Buckinghamshire, you'll find quite a few of them were going around stealing.
Okay. These were naughty Quakers.
Yeah, and I think for me at the moment, a lot of it is rooted around the stuff of the Second World War. As it turns out, half my family is actually from London. So suddenly you're cast back to what London was like in the 1930s and 1940s, both in and outside of the war. And I think all of them, as far as I can tell, survived. You get to this point of actually the knowledge about these people just vanishes. And so you've got people in very recent past absolutely kind of annihilated from history. And in of itself, that is a very unsettling feeling to go, 10 or 20 years now, if I was dropped dead tomorrow, hypothetically, no one would remember me. And I think that starts to play into a lot more deeper stuff. In the last couple of months, I found out who my alive grandfather's father is. And yet he abandoned them just after the Second World War.
Yeah.
No one knows about this stuff.
Yeah.
And you go, so actually, although, this happened 50, 60, 70 years ago, the ramifications of it's all felt by people today.
So is there something that a story that you would have preferred not to have dug up?
Yeah. As I mentioned, in the last over the time I've been doing family history, the way stuff has been digitised has got more and more advanced. There's more data sets going online, and it's more accessible. Originally, I was having to go to archives and take these big journeys, whereas this is just you literally click a couple of buttons, put one of their names in, and it's just like, oh god, they're appearing in 17 different publications all at the same time.
Okay.
What's happened? As it turns out, the policeman who I mentioned earlier, the woman he partnered up with to have my great-great-grandfather, as a kid was, I don't want to say sexually abused, but something between that and abducted as a 14-year-old by this very strange man. And suddenly you go, I really wish I didn't know that on the one hand. But there's a lot of, you can look at the basic details and it's fun and amazing. There's some amazing stuff in there, but it's life.
Wow. Well, Dan, thank you very, very much for coming on The World is Storytelling.
Oh, you're very welcome.
And we should all check out our family histories.
Well said.
Hey, there we go. And that was The World is Storytelling with me, Ronnie. To support The World is Storytelling, make sure to subscribe, rate, follow the podcast, buy the book, and get in touch. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.